welcome back to One-on-One with Mr. U. Of course, I'm your host, Mr. U. In studio with us, founder and coach of the Arcqus Group and the host of the Leadership Unlocked podcast. Dusty Holcomb is in the house, man. Dusty, how are you, brother?
I am wonderful, Mr. U. So great to be here. I've been looking forward to this conversation.
Same here, man. Same here. We talked about a lot of things during our pre-interview, a lot of juicy tidbits and actionable goals and strategies, and a lot of good talk about you, man. So I want to get into it a little bit. We always start our show off asking our guests to share about their childhood, how you got from there to here. Tell us about your upbringing, man. Who's Dusty?
Yeah, you know what? It's so cool. Like, I was not meant to be a leader. And, it's so funny that that's an opportunity you get to learn from. My childhood was growing up in rural East Georgia. And from the 5th grade forward, I was homeschooled. And because of that, I had the opportunity to learn. And I was so fascinated with learning and history. And so one of the greatest gifts I was ever given was that my parents said, here's a library card, go learn whatever you want. And I think I read every book on military history in our local library. And just had the opportunity to learn what I was interested in.
That's good, man. That's good. And what part of the country did you grow up in?
Eastern Georgia. So grew up in the Southeast, East Georgia. My dad was the county extension director for the University of Georgia Extension Service. And so we were, his whole role was to serve farmers. He'd grown up on a dairy farm. I grew up around farming. And that was, those are some of those lessons you learn very early in life about what hard work really is and how to go out there and get after it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. What would you say, if you can locate one, was a turning point for you that kind of brought you into this mindset that you have now? If we're wise about this life that we live, we can always be able to go back and trace those turning points. I mean, it's negligent to kind of just walk through this life and not realize the areas that, they got you to where you are. But could you locate one of those areas that was a turning point for you that got you to this new mindset that you have?
Yeah, it's so powerful. I couldn't agree with you more. We have to take the time to reflect on these things that really formed us and reformed us. One of the earliest ones, kind of linking back to the fact that I was homeschooled, is because of that, I had to get a GED, a general equivalency diploma. And back in the early 90s, that was the marker of someone who had failed out of high school. And so that led me, when I got to college or went to apply to college, the college admissions counselor who looked at me and said, well, Dusty, not everyone is cut out for college. Perhaps you should consider a trade school. Perhaps you should consider just, going to work. And, I knew that I was smart, but I also, at that moment, I didn't realize this until years later, I was mad because, who is this guy who doesn't know anything about me to judge me based on one thing, one test, one score? And, I didn't have great scores because I read what I was interested in, and I didn't read any math books. Nobody sits there and reads a calculus textbook and has it all figured out, or at least I didn't. But he chose to try to label me. And then I went back 4 years later, slid my diploma across the desk and said, thank you very much for the motivation. I just graduated magna cum laude, and I am appreciative of the chip on the shoulder that you gave me because I refuse to be defined by what someone else thinks.
Wow. I love that, man. I love that. You deal a lot with leadership. We're going to get into a lot of different things, and hopefully we can get it all in before our time runs out on us. But you deal a lot with leadership. Now, I'd love to know from your assessment why you think leadership is such a constant discussion. This show alone, I probably interview more folks who are in some kind of leadership or have this leadership bent to what they do than anybody else that I have on this show. Why do you think it's such a big deal, and why do people avoid the responsibilities of leadership now?
Well, I think there's two types of things going on here. There's management, which is, the coordination of the external efforts of others. And then there's leadership, which is around the ability to align and bring purpose to the efforts of others. And so when we think about leadership, we're thinking about how do we get people aligned and focused on a vision and a mission, and then executing on time. And I think it's so incredibly important because in many cases, the only way we're going to get anything done is by helping others be successful. And that's what leadership really is. And so when we stop and we think about it, we have a responsibility to be better ourselves so that we can serve others more effectively. And there's a lot of people out there, but there's not a lot of great leaders. In my lifetime, I have worked for 11 people. There are 11 human beings that I have directly reported to. 3 of those were leaders. The rest were managers. The rest were not leaders, but 3 were true leaders who elevated their game. And so, in doing so, continually helped me elevate my game.
So break the difference down for us for those that may be unaware. I am, because I've been in this space more times than I care to share. The difference between a leader and a manager. Break it down for the people.
Yeah. So think about management as the person who is focusing on the business results. They're managing the efforts to deliver an outcome, and that's it. They're just managing the effort to deliver an outcome. A leader is helping people understand where they fit into it so that they deliver the outcome on their own. A leader is aligning people to vision. There's a famous proverb, where there is no vision, the people perish. Leaders are helping people connect the dots. They're not micromanaging the outcomes. Yes, the outcomes have to be there. In fact, leaders have to be managers, but managers don't have to be leaders. Managers can not care about a person. Leaders care about the results, and they care about the connection from where we are to where we're going, and they're serving others. Leadership is service. And here's the most important distinction. And if I were to break it down to this element, this is what it is. Leadership is not about you. Management is only about you. Management is delivering results so you look better. Leadership is empowering others so they deliver the results and they get better.
I like that. I like that. So you're the founder and coach of the Arcqus Group, but we didn't get a chance to really get into it and dig deep into it. But I want you to share about why you started this group, what's the structure like, what are you doing within it, and what the end goal is. So kind of a 4-part question.
Sure. I love it. I'll try to remember all 4 parts as I walk through.
I'll help you. Go ahead.
I started the Arcqus Group after 28 years in corporate leadership and executive leadership roles. And, I had the great blessing very early in my life of being introduced to leadership. One of those 3 leaders for me was my very first mentor, who taught me that when you take care of those you serve, that they will take care of you. It's about them, not about you. And so that has been a founding kind of first principle of my thinking my entire career. So after 28 years of doing this in the corporate environment, serving others through leadership teams, et cetera, being the president or the CEO of organizations, I decided that on my exit from my last organization, that it was time for me to really focus on giving back, on helping other leaders grow. And so my first principal passion is to enable the success of others. In fact, that's my core mission statement in life, is to enable and empower success in others. And so I founded the Arcqus Group so that we can help purpose-driven and value-centric leaders do exactly that. And so what we do is we work with leaders and leadership teams to enable them to grow in their leadership capabilities. And as we think about leadership, as I think about leadership, the ability to lead teams, the ability to lead organization is first dependent on the ability to lead yourself. You have to lead yourself first. You always have to be learning. You have to be growing. You have to be improving. And leading yourself is the hardest, but it's the most impactful work that you get to do. It's what allows you to get from where you are to where you want to be. These inflection points, these jumps in leadership capability are all dependent on your ability to lead yourself. So what we do is we work with leadership teams. We have a couple of programs. One of our most desired and most popular and successful is our Vision to Victory Accelerator program, where we put 12 leaders in a group. We teach them a leadership operating system, and we surround them with the 11 other like-minded leaders who are doing that exact work at the same time. And it brings another one of my favorite proverbs to mind, which is iron sharpens iron. When you get people in the room who are exceptionally good at what they do, you get an exponential growth factor because you're letting people learn from each other. We're giving them a system. They're coming in with their own desire, and they're helping each other learn and grow. And it's so incredibly powerful to watch.
I love this. I love this. I know sometimes that we can't always have the answers to the test before we have to take it. But tell me how you handle the process of being led. I speak to a lot of leaders who, they even take pride in leading other people. Nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But they feel like they cringe at the idea of being led themselves. And people who are leaders that are leaderless, that gives me pause.
Mm.
The process of being led. We talked about that a little bit. Like I asked you who coached you in our pre-interview and in our previous conversation, but how do you handle the process of being led yourself as a leader?
Yeah, I think there's a fallacy that when you get to some point, you no longer need to be led. And I think that's complete BS. You must always be led. And sometimes you need to go find mentors who will help lead, who will help guide you. But the process of being led is really to understand I am not yet where I want to be or where this organization could be or where we're going. And how do we get aligned with that future vision? And so when you are in an organization and you're being led by someone else, are you asking the right questions? Are you helping? Sometimes leading up is the most important work you'll ever do, where you are helping your leader coalesce on the right things. But to be led is a responsibility, just like it is to lead others. So you have to ask the right questions. You have to be seeking direction. You have to be seeking clarity, because that's what oftentimes we see and I see as the biggest gap. There's a lack of clarity around expectations of the leader and those that they are leading. So if you are in a position where you are being led, then seek clarity, ask questions. Are we aligned with where we're going, when we're going to get there, how we're going to get there, and all of those things? Because we as leaders must create clarity, and ambiguity is the kryptonite to effective leadership. So we get to lead up or lead down by removing ambiguity. And so I think that it's great to be led. I have a series of mentors and people that I intentionally choose to be led by, because they make me better. And that's what I'm seeking as a leader. Is I'm always seeking to be learning, because we talk about that there's this fallacy that leadership is born and not made. And I would say leadership is learned. In fact, I might even go further to say it's learning. Leadership is learning. Learned means past tense, means you've got it all figured out. No, 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 no. Leadership is learning, which means seeking out those people that you want to be led by.
That last part might need to be repeated, because that's what I think people are missing. The
Yeah.
learning aspect, being humble to sit at the feet of somebody who's been a little further down the journey than you have, and be able to glean from them and still be able to serve other people too in your spirit. I forgot the name of the method, but it's a 3-part method where it talks about you serving people who've grown further than you have, or further along than you are, people on your level and people who are not on your level. I had a guest come on and they shared about it. I mentioned it out loud and don't even recall the name of the method, but that's kind of where it takes me. All right, so let me ask you this. Now, maybe I should ask this.
No, go for it, man. Go for
it. let's keep moving. I want to ask you something different. In regards to just who you are, the person, if everybody that you knew was polled, what are 3 things or 3 descriptors they would say about Dusty? Everybody you know was polled. Was 3 things that they would say, I don't get this adjective or maybe a descriptor, a personality trait. What they say Dusty is?
They would say that 3 words: intentional, intense, and relentless. And those words, while I'm thinking about them through the positive lens, they also carry with them some baggage, right? But intentional would be the first one, because I am incredibly intentional about what I do. Like, I believe that we should be thoughtful about reflection, thoughtful about planning our time, thoughtful about who we speak with and how we speak, but be intentional. I think it's one of the marks of a learning leader, is to be very, very intentional. The second was the word intense, and I don't necessarily wear that with a badge of honor, but I know that my intensity can be off-putting at times, but it also can be clarifying at times. And so very, very intense individual. And I'm chuckling as you ask this question because I've had people tell me these words and go, whew, boy, you're intense. Like I feel like I've just been in the ring, and I'm like, oh, we're just having fun here. I'm an Enneagram 8 for those who know Enneagram. And then the last is relentless, which means never quitting. You know, I've spent a time in my life where maybe it goes back to that mindset of someone defining who I am and trying to, you know, say that, hey, I'm not cut out for college. Because of that same thing, I went and became an Ironman athlete. Because of that same thing, you know, people said, hey, you can't do this. And I went, oh, watch me. Relentless, the inability to quit. And all of those things, Mr. You have positive and negative. And I think that that's where we as leaders leading ourselves have to be able to watch out for those negatives that will torpedo us. You know, our greatest strengths will become our greatest weakness or become our binding constraint if we're not careful. But those are the words I would choose.
Yeah. My Enneagram kind of bounces between 5 and 8, but that's where I'm at. That's my life story, the intense part. How did your family deal with these traits?
Lots of coffee. No,
Wow, okay.
No, you know, I'm very blessed that I have my bride is a wonderful balance to me, and she will help, you know, go to the reins every once in a while and slow me down and remind me that, hey, you don't have to do it all at once. You know, it doesn't all have to be now. And so, you know, that is something that I'm continually learning, and I have a family that helps me learn. My bride is way smarter than I am. And then my kids, you know, it's been the greatest blessing is to have children and learn they're not you. And so you get to amend your behavior and your style because of what they want or what they're interested in or what's best for them. So I'd say that my family helps me temper some of my um, positive attributes to a more normal level because it's not best for them if I'm that way. I need to change who I am to serve them.
Makes a lot of sense. I had this on the screen for a little bit. I got so happy talking, I forgot all about it, which is crazy. But for those that are watching, you can see the link on the screen. It's a quick 9-question quiz to help you if you're struggling as a leader or in maybe in leadership, help you kind of fix that. It's free, it's quick, and it'll lead to a 45-minute leadership consultation if you're interested in doing that with Dusty. For those that can't watch, that are listening, it's leadershipgapassessment.com. Leadershipgapassessment.com. Free quiz, help you solve some leadership issues and help you perhaps get on the track to get some strategic consultation, help you kind of work through some leadership stuff and kind of grow as a leader. So, like Dusty said earlier, iron does sharpen iron indeed. So, what's a scenario for you, Dusty, where you feel like it's the most difficult for you to be led by other people? Scenario where it's just like, I can't be led by other people. In this case, I'm struggling with it. I know I need to be here, but this is really hard for me. What's that?
It's when a person is narcissistic or only worried about themselves, like they're managing the environment because of what's best for them and not what's best for the organization or the greater purpose or the greater vision. That's what I struggle with the most, is dealing with or working with people where it's all about them and their ego, not what's best for the organization or best for the people that they serve with. I struggle with that and probably always will.
That makes a lot of sense. I want to give the Arcqus Group a really quick spotlight right here. Just actually with one final question. I want to get into some of your other work with your podcast and such. Excuse me. So in your group, are you like hiring coaches? Do you hire leaders in your group? Is that kind of what you're doing as well to kind of build this? What's that look like?
Yeah, we have coaches and advisors that are on our team that we are looking for and helping, who are like-minded for us. They're passionate about enabling others to grow. So yes, we are very much growing and looking for coaches and advisors who believe that leadership is about service to others and are looking for ways to help unlock the efforts of others. And so that's part of what we do.
Okay. I don't think I have a link from you. How people can find that, but get that to me or
I will do.
Yes, I want to share it here, but can you share the link to the location for that?
Sure. It's arcqusgroup.com, ARCQUS group.com. And then they'll have about us and outreach. You can, if you're interested, you can reach out.
All right. It's going to be under outreach. Copy that. All right. So we had that there. I put it up on the screen for those that are watching. It's going to be the Arcqus Group. It's not going to be spelled in the way you may think. It's going to be arcqusgroup.com. Go under the about us section, and then under outreach for those that are listening and not watching today. Arcqus Group, arcqusgroup.com, and go under outreach. All right. Let's keep the train moving close to the end here. What's some advice you would give to the younger Dusty? Heard a lot of great things about him in the beginning of the episode, but do you have some advice for that young man?
Yeah. There's three things I would tell a younger version of me. One, I was told this when I was young and I wasn't smart enough to know what it meant. Life is about the journey, not the destination. Don't become so focused on the goals that you forget to appreciate the journey. It really goes back to what you were saying a minute ago. We have to take these lessons that we've learned and capture them. And if we don't, that's just, we're wasting them, right? So like lessons, be present for the journey. Number two, learn to meditate early. Like I didn't pick up a meditation as a daily practice until maybe 10 or 12 years ago. And I think that if I had learned that as a skill much younger, then I would have learned to install a circuit breaker that would have prevented me from reacting to things as opposed to pausing and understanding and letting things flow around me that I wish I'd had. And third, it would have been just fully appreciate the moments that matter every day. I started a practice of a daily gratitude journal about 15 years ago. And I wish I had started that practice 30 years ago. Writing down the three things every single day that I am grateful for has changed my life. It is the single most fundamental practice that I do every day and will not miss.
I love this. Love this. Who are the influential leaders and mentors in your life?
The first one that comes to mind is Colonel Greg Camp. He was my first leadership mentor. He was my manager and boss at age 21 years old in my first official leadership role. And he is the person that I give full credit to for installing within me a mindset about what leadership is, about servant leadership, and how we are charged with being responsible for others, not having them be responsible to us.
Love that. Now, you said you believe there's 5 most important questions that a leader must be able to answer. I guess in your assessment, if they can't answer it, they're not ready to step into leadership. That's what I'm gathering from that question. What are those 5 questions?
Yeah, those 5 questions are really what a leader needs to be able to ask and answer of themselves and enable their team to ask and answer so that they can get missionaries in their organization, not just mercenaries. And what I mean by that is people who are putting forth discretionary effort, not just doing the bare minimum, not just doing what the job pays. Those questions are: question number 1, why are we here? What's our purpose beyond making money? And you can say, well, why does that matter? 93% of Gen Z and millennials say that if they have no alignment with the purpose of an organization, they will seek another opportunity. Why are we here? What's our purpose beyond making money? Question number 2, where are we going? What's our vision? It's like people really need to understand that there's something beyond the day-to-day transactional elements of the work that we're trying to build. They want to be part of building something. Got to have a vision, got to have something over the horizon we're shooting for. Question number 3, how are we going to get there? How are we going to make that vision a reality? Harvard Business Review came out with a study a few years ago that said 95% of people in an organization don't understand the strategy of the company. Said differently, only 5% of the people in a company are actively understanding and working towards making that strategy a reality.
Wow.
That's the plan. That's crazy, right? I'm counting on 5% of the people. There's a better way.
Must be.
Yeah. Question number 4, and this is where I think most companies really start to fall to the wayside, is the connect the dots question is, how do I fit in? Can people ask and answer how their work connects to the plan, to the vision, and the purpose? Do they understand why what they are tasked with doing really matters in the company and how it connects to all those elements? And then question number 5, what's in it for me? And it's not just a money question. It's a question of how will I grow? How do I measure my success? How will I be rewarded? What are the opportunities that are going to come because I've done a good job? When people can ask and answer those 5 questions, more importantly, when those questions can be answered by your team without you in the room, you have empowered and enabled the people who are closest to the problem, who are closest to the customer, to deliver the best work. And if you think about it, if we could get every organization where the people closest to the customer and closest to the problems understand why we're here, where we're going, how we're going to get there, how they fit in, and what's in it for them, man, they will make incredibly good decisions.
This is the leadership mountain, man. We're trying to climb it today, man. So I definitely appreciate this. This is good stuff. You mentioned a quote that you love. I don't think I've ever heard of it before, but you said, be interested, not interesting. Unpack that.
Yeah, so I heard Jim Collins share this when he was telling a story about Peter Drucker, and he was a young management consultant working with Peter Drucker, the godfather of management. And he was going to Mr. Drucker after a week or two of working with him, and he was expecting to get all this accolades about being this sharp young Stanford graduate and sharp guy. And he said, "Mr. Drucker, how could I be more effective?" And he's expecting to get a pat on the back and, "Hey, you're so smart." And he said, "Well, Mr. Mr. Collins, I think you would be much more effective if you would spend more time being interested instead of interesting." You see, he was spending all of his time trying to be the guy as opposed to focusing on understanding what was important to the other person. And I think that that's just such a wonderful metaphor for leadership. When we spend our time being interested in others instead of being interesting, all about self, we get other people to bring their best self to work. And that's what we have to do. That's the job of the leader, is to unlock the potential of the people on their teams.
That's super authentic, man. I'm loving this whole conversation. That's why we're going way past the time we normally go. I'm loving this. This is really good. We got time. But in the world of many podcasts, which you and I are both very, very familiar with, what's the end goal for yours? And tell me, which is kind of a two-part question. What's the end goal for Leadership Unlocked? And then secondly, how does that connect with the Arcqus Group? Is there a connective tissue between the two of those? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Share that goal, please. Yeah.
So the end goal of Leadership Unlocked, maybe this is my part where I'm being interested quite a bit. As I transitioned from leading organization and having hundreds and thousands of people, I realized that I have this insatiable quest for learning. I just want to learn. Well, one of the ways that I get to do that is by helping unpack and unlock the stories from others. So by having amazing guests on Leadership Unlocked, and the entire podcast is built around understanding the stories that shape great leaders. By having them on the show, I get to continue to learn. I get to continue to be around really smart people and ask questions about the lessons that shaped them, the things that they learned. And to be honest with you, I don't want to have just people who have been in CEO roles or, running companies, et cetera. I want to have people on who have navigated life and have created influence, because John Maxwell said leadership is influence, nothing more and nothing less. So I look for people that I want to learn from that are super interesting. They're maybe non-traditional leaders, but they have a story to tell, and I get to learn from them. So my end goal is to continue to learn myself and to help them share their lessons so others can learn. We've had guests on there. We have a CEO who was she's now a hospice chaplain. She was a high-flying executive and became a hospice chaplain. Yeah, man, there's some lessons learned from somebody who is navigating death with families at the last moment, and what is life and what are regrets. There's so many incredible stories. So that's my end game. How do we help people share stories that matter? And what I get from it is learning, and what I get from it is the ability to be part of curating these stories for others, and that's the goal. And we've grown from, we just launched 4 months ago, and we're already in the top 5% of podcasts worldwide, and we're growing 25% a month in listenership. And it's just so incredibly powerful for me to hear the feedback from others about what mattered to them and how that story unlocks something for them. That's the game.
Love it, man. I've seen a couple episodes, and I have with your assessments. It's humble, it's authentic, and it's real, man. Your show is really, really good, man.
Thank you.
That's why
I appreciate it.
we do the show for pretty much the same reason. We want to unlock these incredible stories of courage and resilience and actionable tips and strategies, and just help us be better as a whole. So that's what the whole thing's all about. So I love this. I love this a lot. So how does that connect with did it connect with the Arcqus Group at all? Is there a connection there? Does it kind of help feed something there, or how's that work?
Yeah. It ultimately does two things. I have a big, hairy, audacious goal, and I have no idea how I'm going to achieve that goal. My BHAG is to impact the lives of 100 million leaders. Now, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I know that something like Leadership Unlocked can help do that. And I'll never know. I can't count every person who listens to an episode and then goes and does something, and then goes and helps other people. But for Arcqus Group, we have to have a vision. We have to have something over the horizon we're shooting for. So if we can shoot for 100 million people impacted, the Leadership Unlocked podcast helps do that. The other thing it does is, and I think this is incredibly important, people are attracted to people and that they like and trust and who believe what they believe. And so by being out there with Leadership Unlocked, we get to have an authentic voice. We get to tell real stories, and we get to show people what we believe. I get to show people what I believe as a leader. And so that will either attract people who believe the same things and want to learn and want to grow, or it will repel people who don't believe those things. And I'm okay with that. Like, I want it to attract people who have the same type of energy and the same type of desire to serve, or repel those who don't. And so it supports and enables our vision of creating an organization that's going to impact the lives of 100 million people. And it helps attract people and reinforce, whether they ever do business with us or not is completely irrelevant to me. It helps attract people who believe what we believe, so we can build a community that creates impact. Those are the ways that it links into what we do.
Well, I'm going to do my part. I'm a fan and follower of the show, so I enjoy it myself personally. So this is good stuff, brother.
Thank you, Mr. Yu. I really appreciate it. That's high praise indeed.
It's not a problem at all. What for somebody who is looking at the work that you're doing and want to be a part of what you're doing? You mentioned alignment a couple of times, and that's really the word of the last 3 months for us in my neck of the woods is alignment. I've been hearing it so much in dreams and in reality. Alignment. What is a potential person who wants to help and be supportive or be a part of, be hired by you? What do they have to align with? Spell that out for people who may be watching, listen, who may be interested in supporting you.
Yeah, I think the first thing they have to align with is that they need to have clarity around what's important to them and who they are. And they have to have alignment on core values. Now, I tell people you don't have to have the same beliefs that we have, but you have to align on the values that we have. And our values are incredibly important. I put them on the website. I talk about them all the time. But you have to align so that you have curiosity, ownership. You have to have faith. You have to have a mindset of growth and a mindset of service. And you have to be humble. And so those are the values that we have and we share. And so that's the first thing you have to have alignment on. You have to have violent alignment on those things, because if you don't, it's like gears in a machine. They just don't line up and they grind and it doesn't work. So alignment to values, desire to serve, and ultimately it can't be about you. It has to be about those that we empower and those that we serve. And that's what we're here for. And that's what I'm here for. And so those are the people that the gears just line up beautifully. It's all about alignment.
It is all about alignment. That's the word of the day, the week, the past quarter, if you will. So last 3 questions, we're going to try to go ahead and get these in. And then I'm going to leave them on the table. What's one book that you believe everybody should read and why? I love questions like this because I'm a big reader. I know you are too. What's that book, brother?
Yeah, I will give you the book that I read every single year. And there's lots of books, This is one I read every year, and every year I read it, I have a different book based on where I am in life. And it's Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. And I love that book because it is a constant and continual reminder that we have the power of choice, that we have the opportunity between an external stimuli and our response to choose our response. We are not we are not delegated a response. We have the opportunity to choose. I read it every year. Typically read it in the summertime. I read it again this summer, and I read a different book this year than I did 2 years ago, than I did 5 years ago. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Number one, read it every year.
Got it. And it's up on the screen for those that are watching. If you're listening again and you're not watching, his name is spelled Viktor. Last name is Frankl. Okay, so you know that. But that's Dusty's annual book. I think we all have those. I haven't read this one myself, but I'm super interested already. All right, here's the penultimate question today. If you have a gift of a 7-week sabbatical, where will we find Dusty?
Oh, I love this gift. I want this gift. You would find me with my family in the biggest backcountry space there is. Maybe on a horseback, maybe on a hiking trail. I want to be in a very big space where I feel very small, and I'm reminded of the impermanence of us as humans and the permanence of the landscape around us. I find that type of environment, that type of space, both inspiring, thought-provoking, faith foundational for me. You know, God is big and I am small. You'd find me in a space that's very, very large where I can be very, very small.
That's super humbling, man. I'm using that word a lot when it comes to you, brother.
Thank you.
I love this. All right, so we'll go ahead and give you an instruction real quick before when we close out. Stay on with me for a little bit afterwards. We should upload goes through and then some additional things on the back end. But now we had our last question of the show. It's called a CMV question. We talked about it a little bit. I have to start prepping our guests for me because they got so surprised and flustered. I want to give them more time to think about it. Career, mission, vocation question. I'm just taking all of the incredible things you've done off of the table temporarily, not to diminish your talents or your work. You've done several great things for a lot of people. Off the table, everything you've ever done, hobbies, career, mission, vocation. What do you believe Dusty is doing right now today outside of those things?
If one person, based on anything I've ever done in life, makes a decision or a choice that improves their lives or the lives they love and care about, that's what I'm here for. Like the ability to impact the lives of others so that there's a ripple effect beyond me. That's why I'm here.
Think you'd be a teacher?
Yeah. I think we're all teaching.
Yeah. That definitely sounds like this definitely be you. All right. So this is your opportunity, your 2 minutes, Dusty. You can let folks know where they can find your work, or you can give them a pearl of wisdom that meant everything to you, or you can do both, but you got 2 minutes. Go for it.
All right. Awesome. Well, I think the pearl of wisdom would be to restate what I've already said. You know, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And so that as people are thinking about leadership, I want to remind them that it's not about titles. It's about the ability to influence others. And when they invest time, effort, and energy in leading themselves, they earn the right to lead teams. They earn the right to lead organizations. You can learn more about our work at arcqusgroup.com. And if you're stuck or struggling or trying to figure out, you know, why is leadership so hard? Why am I stuck? What is it that I can do to get better? Go to that free leadership gap assessment, leadershipgapassessment.com. Take the assessment, and it'll help you pinpoint an area where you can learn and grow. And we'll give you a free consultation to help give you some tools that you can get you unstuck and moving to the next level. So it's a desire of ours to serve, and it's a privilege to be able to do so. And I'm so glad I got to have this conversation today with you, Mr. Yu.
Same here, brother. It's been beyond my expectations. Man, I love talking about leadership. I love somebody who is authentic about it. That's not something that is that's not pervasive.
Well, I can only be me. That's all I know how to do.
No, that's fair. It's definitely rare. You're a rare brother, and I appreciate not only being in community with you also, but getting to know you, man, and connecting with you on that level. So definitely a blessing, man. This is the podcast host of Leadership Unlocked. If I'm on Apple Podcasts, you will be fully satisfied. Trust me. Incredible show to be so new. And the founder and coach of the Arcqus Group. So you can check out arcqusgroup.com. You can get assistance with leadership consulting, or you can reach out regarding the opportunities that Dusty has available on this site. So thank you again for being here, Dusty, and doing this, man. I really appreciate you, man.
Thank you very much, man. It's a privilege and an honor. Thank you.
Same here, brother. Okay. Hang on with me for a little bit afterwards, man. But Dusty and Mr. U, we're out of here. Have a great day. If you're watching and listening, you can find all of this live already uploaded on nearly every platform. Instagram and TikTok will be coming. And then, of course, all the listening platforms, you'll find it within the next half hour or so. So thanks again for watching and listening. Have a great day. We're out of here.